Meow, 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 meow. Bow, bow. Do, 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 do. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? There's no rapper. What happened? What happened? This world. It's kind of like when 2020 happened and there was just this war between the baby boomer generation, the older hedge funds, and the newer style of investing. Short squeezes. I mean, this stuff's still going on, but now we got this war between should we have a rapper on it or not? Oh, man. Hey, this is for the scalpers. Does that make me a scalper? Because I got one of these? Oh, no. No. If you've arrived here, you're well off the beaten path. My name is Rich. I'm a nobody. All right, so since we're living in this construct full of concepts, I figured I'd bring up the next concept. How do I want to start this? I used to work in the mental health industry, right? And it's really, by the way, this is about trading cards. This is trading cards. Trading cards. And it's just a really important concept of just working in that industry is you need to be able to separate a person from their behaviors. And it's a really hard thing to do because you're going to run into some pretty wild stuff in that space. If anybody's worked in that space, you know what I'm talking about, okay? And so by separating a person from their behaviors, you can actually get to this place where you look at the person like most all people are inherently good people. The behaviors that come out of these people are what we have problems with, right? It's an interesting concept. It's probably hard for a lot of people to regurgitate this kind of way of life or, this kind of way of thought or however you want to put it. And, but once you can do that, the behaviors that you see become workable, right? If you were to look at the person and say they are those behaviors, right? Like, let's say, instead of this person is lying, you're like, that person is a liar, right? Then you're labeling it and it becomes a dead end and it's not workable because you're just like, yeah, they're a liar and, we're done. But if you actually say this person is lying and then you give it a reason like they lie in the afternoons or whatever, then it becomes workable. That's why it's so important to separate a person from their behaviors. So out of like the 4 people that watch me, it's like, whether you like me or not, I don't know what it is, but you are seeing my behaviors, right? And being able to separate those is really important. Anyways, by the way, what a special set. What a special set. So another thing is when, let's say you're going to meet, because you're going to be seeing like different types of people and trying to figure out different strategies of like how to help them grow, how to get them out of their comfort zone, whatever. So let's say you're like walking in, there's like a group of, kids. We were working with kids. And then the other metaphor I want to bring up too is like special forces training, right? Because, trading cards, mental health industry, and special forces training. Oh, yeah. All of those are like the same thing. Great job, Rich. You're a professional channel. Woo, woo, woo. So we'll tie in first the mental health industry and the special forces training. Okay. When you walk into a group of kids, or for example, let's say you're hunting, I don't even know if I can say that on YouTube. Hunting, God, you're going after, let's say, evil people that do evil things, terror people. Okay, I don't even know if I can say that on YouTube, and you're going after them. Let's say it's like a marketplace. Okay. We'll start with the special forces here. When you walk into the marketplace, they train you not to look for problems. Now, you are looking for problems, right? Of course. But like, you're being trained not to just use that as your go-to. And the reason for that is, let's say it's like a bustling market. It's kind of all crazy. You got all this stuff going on. You're like, oh my God, look at that kid. Oh my God, look at that human. Oh my God, look at that thing. And what it ends up doing is it wears you down. It wears you down emotionally, mentally, and physically too. Okay? Let's say you walk into a group of kids in the mental health industry, and you got some kid sitting in the corner. You got some kid who's yelling, just cursing, right? You got some kid who is just like doing something really shady over here. You got some kid that is crying. You got one that's, I don't know, doing somersaults or something like that, And as a human, you want to attack the problems. Like, what's the biggest problem here, right? But it leads you down this tunnel of thought where you get stuck, and you're not really like assessing like what's really happening, right? Because you're just attacking the problems. Like, you're in the marketplace and you're just like, oh, look at this person, look at this person, look at this person. And what it ends up doing is it wears you down. So what we are trained in mental health or the special forces is that when you go into these environments, instead of looking for problems, you look for abnormalities. Okay? So let's say you walk into the marketplace and it's really quiet. That is an abnormality, right? Something is going on that doesn't normally go on. Now, if you're like the first to like that kind of environment, then obviously you don't know, but that's exactly what we're talking about, is not knowing, right? Let's say you walk into the group of kids. Now, all those kids are doing all those things that I just said, right? And yes, there are problems. You got to keep people safe, things like that. But you have to have like a higher level thinking. You can't just attack problems and be the lower level person, right? You got to actually like see like what is going on. So let's say, the next day, the kid that's just yelling and cursing is like really quiet, right? Now that's an abnormality. So that becomes a problem, right? If you constantly attack and try and corral the wild steed that's running around yelling and cursing every day, you're going to wear yourself out. And you might never even like fix the problem, I mean, humans are humans, right? And so you have to find a way to help this person grow that it involves like seeing like, the differences in their behaviors. And that is what we consider establishing a baseline. That's the whole concept of this video. You need to establish a baseline. And now that we've talked about trading cards for the last half an hour, let's move on to trading cards, because this is what this channel's about. You're not going to see me coming out here telling you, I see this with a lot of YouTubers where they put out a video, they look smart, and like the public out there just bombards them with questions. Oh, so-and-so, is this worth buying? Is this gonna go up? The questions are just moot points. They're just, it's just like, why are you spending your time? Why are you wasting your time? Like, you look at something like this and like, will it go up? Sure. Will it go down? Sure. I mean, like, there are no answers to like, what's the best thing? If there was a best thing, if everybody knew Lord of the Rings Holiday was going to go to like $10,000+ a box, everyone would dive in there. People don't know. People forget what it was like in 2022, 2023. In fact, I would say most of the people watching me, out of the 3 people that watch me, like, you probably weren't even there in 2022 and 2023. And we talk about that because it's the last one. But there have been other bear markets before that. There have been times like, what was it? Was it 2018 or something like that? I mean, we got that like 2008 era too. What else? Oh my gosh. When Kamigawa, the Kamigawa block came out in the early 2000s. I mean, Invasion Onslaught, those things did a little better, but like there was like a big change in like the frames of the cards and things like that. I mean, the negativity is always going to be there. People are always going to be upset. So instead of focusing on those problems, we need to establish a baseline in this industry and understand when abnormalities are there. So like, let's break this down for a little bit. And I know, no one watches me anyway. So you know what? I'm going to mention Lord of the Rings Holiday. When Lord of the Rings Holiday came out, it was an abnormal thing because it was not marketed. It just like showed up and like no one knew about it. And then no one cared about it. So it led to there was nothing out there. And then there was a change later in how people felt about it. That's why it's doing so well, is because no one cared and no one did anything at first. And so this is why some people will invest in what they consider abnormalities by how they feel about, a product of like, I don't really like that. I'm going to buy it, I mean, it's a strategy. It's not something I'm recommending. This is not financial advice. I'm not saying don't go do that. But that's a strategy that people use, is they look for how they feel about a set. And if they feel more down about it, they buy it. I don't know if that's actually like the most effective way of doing things, but you have to look for abnormalities. I'm a YouTuber that I won't like tell you guys like, go after this. I'll mention products. I have products in the background. I go through like Pokemon, Magic, One Piece. I should really put some like Weiss Schwarz in the background. I think you'll catch it in the corner of a video somewhere or something like that. I got Gundam. I got the new type Rising boxes. I did not want to, avoid that. but you have to look for abnormalities. So like, for example, when Lord of the Rings Holiday comes out, it's a weird product, we're focused on it, and then as we see demand spike, that's a change in thought, right? We're not focused on the set, we're not focused on Lord of the Rings Holiday, no one cares about that concept. I mean, a lot of people do in the short term, but like when you think longer term, and you can actually like revisit this product, watch what's happening to it online, right? Like literally after they found that one ring and then it got bought for $2 million, everyone thought it was going to crash and it didn't crash. Like these abnormalities, they build up and they create something. Now it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, you know, what's good or bad, whatever. But you have to pay attention to the changes. And when there's a change, just don't write it off. One thing we have going on right now with Pokemon is that literally it's been, I don't know, people call it like the summer slump. Everybody's got like these stupid terms for things. It's the summer slump because it was slumpy last year. A Slumpalophagus came in here and sat in the room next to me, and everything was really weird. And I was like, Slumpalophagus, what are you doing here? And then he came back, and I was like, Slumpalophagus. It's like, dude, Slumpalophagus just wants to hang out with you. He just wants to watch a movie with you. He just wants to be like with you, you know? Is that okay? I mean, do we have to be all isolated and just away from people and upset and doing our own thing and like, oh my God, this person's talking to me. I'm trying to be busy in life. Slumpalophagus is a person, okay? Slumpalophagus is a person. So Slumpy over here comes back the next summer and everybody's like, oh my gosh, right? Like I have considerably less sales right now. So that is a change, right? Does that mean I'm just going to run away screaming and stuff? No, we assess what's going on. We're riding the Slumpalophagus right now, you know? And then this whole like Bitcoin thing and 4-year cycle. Yeah, there are coincidences, but if you live by that, you're going to be stuck on the hamster wheel. And you're just going to live however life wants you to live instead of you living however you want to live during life. I am getting way off topic. In trading cards, you have to establish like a baseline of like what is going on. And when you notice abnormalities or opportunities or different kind of sections, that's when you go in. People are all hung up on like, what price is this? How is it doing? What cards are this? Like, I think I'm the only one in this entire freaking world that I've seen. I mean, I've started hearing people talk about it, but when Perfect Order came out, I wasn't the only one. There's a couple people. I'm like one of like a handful of people that are just like, this is a buying opportunity. And like literally the whole world is just like, I hate this set, you know? But now we're in this time where literally all the ME sets look great right now. You know, you see the Slumpalophagus come in and you're just like, dude, I want to smooch you right on the face. You know, it's just, it's so beautiful. And so now we're going in to like the next concept of Pokemon 30th here. It's like ridiculous prices. It is clear that a lot of people are just like really stressed. I mean, there's a lot of money out there, but there's a lot of people right at this moment that are on the edge. There's a lot of borrowing and things like that. That's what brings Slumpy in, you know? And so, you know, I've focused, like, I pay attention to lending, even though like lending is not a big part of my life right now. I pay attention to it, and there was this one company that I got some lending from a while back, and like keep reaching out to me, and I could like block their emails or whatever, but it's interesting to look at. And they were saying like, hey, uh, we got some more lending for you. I was like, all right, let's dive in. We don't have to grab the lending. Let's just see what's going on. And I go in there, and they were saying, yeah, no worries. We'll give you, a few $1,000s or whatever. No biggie. 39% interest. I I wasn't even close to that number when I did this with you guys. Like, we're getting in this time where the interest is like really big. And there's a lot of people lending. Now, this is what like creates bull runs, right? But like, ooh, like I wonder how many people are like, yeah, it's fine. It's just 39%. I'll make 50% on whatever I buy. It's just, you look at this thing and you're like, and then you got Pokemon 30th coming up, and it's just like everybody's excited, and it's a big thing. It's probably what's creating this drawdown in markets where people are gearing up for this time. But you look at it and you're like, okay, so what happens after, right? What happens after? Okay, everybody's focused on 30th. I'm focused on after 30th, okay? So we have like the greatest hype ever in TCGs coming in about a month here. And it's going to be wild and crazy. It's probably going to do well. But you start looking at it and you're like, what happens after when the expectations go out the window? Like, there is nothing better than Pokemon 30th. It's like we have to be prepared for what's after this. I don't know, but like if you're running around getting like 39% lending, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna buy into this Pokemon 30th. That is really risky, right? And so throughout all these past years where everybody's all emotional about things climbing, we were climbing out of the hole of 2022 and 2023. Okay? The abnormality that I'm seeing is like we have this crazy hype, and what's after that? Last video, I mentioned Magic 30th, and I did not know that they actually made a Magic 30th. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I have to make a video. Sir, King of Wizards. What do we do to bring up sales here at Wizards? Sir, you're new here. It's called Hasbro. Hasbro, brah. Okay, Hasbro. How do we bring up the sales of Hasbro? What do we do? What do we do? Well, I'm new here, so I've been doing this for 25 years at different companies, and I really know how to get hype back in. I have an idea. Magic 30th was forgotten about. Let's make Magic 35th. I guess there's some really sweet stuff, so people are gonna be excited, but it's just ridiculous. Anyways, you have to establish a baseline when you're looking at stuff and give yourself forward thinking, learn how to attack the problem. I was all over the place on this video, but you have to you're not going to hear from me, buy this. You will sometime, buy this. It fell. Buy this. Yes, there will be moments where I'm like, this is great. But you have to understand this to yourself. If you are out there asking people like what to buy, you're a slave. You have to become a master. And I'm no master, but you have to understand, like, why am I buying this? Why am I focused on this? Why am I focused on this? Why am I focused on whatever? What's going on? And actually come up with a logical answer for it. It's establish the baseline. See what this market does. If you're new here or if you have no idea what's going on, establish what's going on and then make your decisions from there. But you need to be part of it in order to establish what is going on. And that's how you learn. You don't need to be some fancy mathematician, some wizard, king of the universe to be able to like prosper in this kind of space. You just look at stuff, look at the trends, understand what happens. Oh, people hate this set, so they're not going to print it that much, right? It's that easy. They don't want the prices to tank so far low that everyone hates Magic. Sometimes, and it's not funny. It's not funny. The expectations create inefficiencies. And with this Pokemon 30th thing, the abnormality that's happening right now is across the board. There are so many different items, not just in Pokemon, but in Magic, Weiss, other products, where they are just not moving right now. We're in this stagnant time. We're hanging out with Slumpy, and that's when you start making the moves. Now, if you're not, ready for that, if you can't make a move right now, you need to start preparing for these kind of moments, because this is life, right? We don't have to be multi-billionaires or anything like that, but we understand that we're all getting older and we want to get some form of like retirement, right? And that's what this is. It's some form of retirement in some weird collectible way that's just like like nobody knows about it, but like everybody knows about it. I always see like all these views, but then I go out into the public and I speak about this stuff with people and no one knows what's going on. This is still a very beautiful place. If you think there's no opportunity in here, you're lost. I'm sorry. There is so much opportunity. And right now, the opportunity is astounding. I've been looking through like Pokemon products, Magic products right now. People are more focused on Magic right now. They're like, there's the bull run, But there are so many Pokemon products. I mean, Evolving Skies booster boxes are down to like $2,200 now. I mean, look at all the Pokemon boxes that sell for $6,000, $7,000 out there, You have to notice these abnormalities and take advantage of them. And that's why you won't hear much about what to buy from me. You're going to hear about the opportunity that's out there. Just a thought. I don't know. Go hang out with Slumpy.